We have major news in terms of the more than 700 cases against alleged Trump rioters. There's more than 700 total cases now. And one of the things we've been wondering, waiting for, thinking about is, will there be more serious charges? A lot of the charges, even though collectively this was an attempted insurrectious coup to install the guy who lost in the White House, that was the general point of it. To really charge people with anything even remotely close to that requires you've got it close to have these people dead to rights and really be able to prove what they intended in participating in those riots. And that's really tough. We've talked about perjury. People perjure themselves all the time in court using the term perjury colloquially, but proving perjury is quite difficult. And you really don't see even a small fraction of instances of perjury actually prosecuted. A lot of the stuff we're talking about with January 6th, including sedition, is quite difficult to prove. And thus it makes it tough to say we're going to charge people with that. That has now changed, and things are changing very, very dramatically. The leader of the Oath Keepers and 10 other individuals have been indicted in federal court for seditious conspiracy and other offenses related to the U.S. Capitol breach. This is sort of a crossing of the Rubicon when it comes to the January 6th riots. And the Justice Department publication says that a federal grand jury in D.C. returned an indictment charging 11 defendants with seditious conspiracy. One of the main charges here is a guy named Elmer Stewart Rhodes III, a 56-year-old Texan who is the founder and leader of the Oath Keepers. That's a right-wing militia-type group. Rhodes was arrested in Texas. Another guy, Edward Vallejo, 63, also charged with seditious conspiracy. A bunch of other previously named defendants have been charged. 8 other individuals affiliated with the Oath Keepers have been charged in the investigation, and they remain as defendants in 2 related cases. These are really, really serious charges. The seditious conspiracy indictment alleges that following the 2020 election, Rhodes conspired with co-defendants to oppose by force the execution of the laws governing the transfer of presidential power by January 20th. They, via encrypted and private communications, coordinated and planned to travel to D.C. around January 6th to bring weapons to support their operation. They did travel, and they conspired through a variety of manners and means, including organizing into teams prepared to use force to transport firearms and ammunition. They recruited people. They organized trainings to teach and learn paramilitary combat tactics, on and on and on, with the point of preventing the lawful transfer of presidential power. These are really, really serious charges. And a sort of, I don't know that we would call this funny, but one of the things that the right has been saying, and Tucker's been saying this, and other Fox News hosts and others saying, if this was an insurrectious coup, if they were doing sedition, why haven't they been charged with that? In fact, just hours before the charges, Fox News dude Brit Hume, although to be honest, I don't even know if he's still at Fox News, but Brit Hume, who for a long time was he is still a political analyst on Fox News. He tweeted, here's a thought. Let's base our view on whether 1-6 was an insurrection, on whether those arrested are charged with insurrection. So far, none has been. Within hours, charges for seditious conspiracy to prevent a peaceful transfer of power. I had tweeted, so I guess they were waiting on the more serious charges. And a CNN legal analyst, Asha Rangappa, said, I don't think they were waiting. The more serious charges are also more complex and can take longer to gather evidence and put together. If you look at the indictment, it is incredibly detailed, and you can't get that information overnight. So as Vox has now reported, these charges really change the whole feel of the riots. Vox writing, seditious conspiracy occurs when 2 or more people work together to plan to overthrow the government or prevent the execution of its laws. and that now on the basis of these charges, this has really stepped things up. Before we had seen disorderly conduct, obstructing an official proceeding before Congress, and even there we've seen sentences close to 4 years. Seditious conspiracy carries a potential sentence of 20 years in prison. And importantly, these new charges refute the argument that the entire riots were overblown. That's been a story we hear from many right-wingers. This is all overblown. It wasn't an attempted coup, wasn't an attempted insurrection, and nobody's been charged with anything like that. Well, now they have. And we may see, instead of 41-month sentences, we could see 10, 12, potentially up to 20, but probably not, year sentences. And that completely changes the entire story about what happened on January 6th. Could there be even more serious charges? Maybe. We're going to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts. You can find me on Twitter at @dpackman and tell me what you think about this. One of our longtime sponsors is Monk Pack, giving you 20% off Monk Pack's keto nut and seed bars, which taste just like your favorite sweet snacks, but without the guilt, because they have only 1 gram of sugar, 2 to 3 net carbs, and 150 calories. A great snack if you're doing keto, if you're doing low carb, and if you just want a low sugar snack. I love the Monk Pack nut and seed bars. Great balance of sweet and salty, satisfyingly crunchy, soft and chewy. Because I like these so much, I use Monk Pack's subscription feature, sends them straight to my house on a regular basis, and saves me 10%. If you don't love Monk Pack as much as I do, they will refund you all your money. I think there's a really good chance Monk Pack nut and seed bars become your favorite go-to snack. Monk Pack is giving you 20% off your first order. Go to monkpack.com and enter the code PACKMAN at checkout.